The star of the show is good old Father Abraham, who's a 20-year-old camel who has a hump for entertainment.
I found the art provides a good medium for expression. They can let their emotions go through their art.
They may be on spring break. Ironically, he is signed here in Columbia, South Carolina with the Fireflies, which is the Mets affiliate minor league team. He grew up liking guys like Derek Jeter and, of course, his uncle Eduardo. But even though his goal was to get to the Mets, he has wants to accomplish so much more in Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, it's pretty emotional time for us, and obviously the legendary career of Asia Wilson here at the University of South Carolina has come to an end. But there's no secret that this local phenomenon can fly, and we've been seeing it all year long. Switching from the NHL to the NBA playoffs were in full swing this weekend, and we have Game 2 action last night. Well, knee tendonitis and weak shoulders couldn't stop Father Time last night. The Miami Heat and Philadelphia 76ers face off in a Game 2 matchup, and let's just say Flash is back, sort of. So if Dwayne Wade can last 48 minutes with knee tendonitis, I promise you I could do it as strong to a game to 16. So I'm going to go there today and see how it's going to be like. You know? Today isn't hump day, but don't tell Father Abraham that. Abraham and his owner Clifford stole the spotlight at the State House while they were filming a promotional video for the Cleopatra Ballet.
And then when it started moving, I was like, no way. So I ran across the street. It was red or green. I didn't care. And then the car beeped. I said, oops, sorry.
Meet William Starrett, the man responsible for bringing Cleo to Columbia.
I created Cleopatra in 2008 for our ballerina, Regina Willoughby, who's retiring. And so she wanted, it's her favorite ballet that she performed. I created it for her because she looks like Elizabeth Taylor.
The star of the show is good old Father Abraham, who's a 20-year-old camel who has a hump for entertainment. So how did one get permission to roam a 1,500-pound camel around the city?
Luckily, Mr. Fisher, who owns the camel, is a police officer. So that helped that hump, so to speak.
Fisher has a range of animals such as horses, sheep, and lambs. And for this hard-working fellow, he is rewarded with a refreshing drink. For Carolina News, I'm D'Angelo Stevenson.
Take the tail of my bunny.
I'll help you do it. Just get it cut out.
While many students are away on vacation during spring break, some are spending their time in a camp designed to unleash their artistic talent. At the Columbia Art Center, these little individuals have their minds focused on other things, creativity. The main objective for Spring Break Art Camp is
to let the children have fun while they're learning.
This camp has been around for 3 years. Brenda Oliver says art is a good outlet for the children.
We found the art provides a good medium for expression. They can let their emotions go through their art.
They may be on spring break this week, but their learning doesn't stop. They're learning more than just arts and crafts, but about teamwork and cooperation. One of the campers says her favorite part is
I like that it expresses like different people's talent, and you can, draw whatever you want or make whatever you want, and like no one's criticizing you about it.
And another one just enjoys the artwork and the company.
Learned a lot of things. I've learned how to do clay, and I just learned how to do printmaking with potatoes. I've never been very good with friends, but it's fun though.
These little masterminds will become artists, right?
Chances are pretty high. There might be like an 89% chance or a 93% chance.
Well, we hope so. For Carolina News, I'm D'Angelo Stevenson. Welcome to Spirits Communications Park. It is officially spring, and with the sounds of bats hitting balls and the excitement of the players and coaches, it is baseball season for the Columbia Fireflies. With a roster of 25 men, this fresh face is known for a number of reasons besides swinging a bat.
Yeah, so my uncle was Edgardo Alfonso. He played a lot of years with the New York Mets. And
Giovanni Alfonso, the newly signed infielder for the Columbia Fireflies. His uncle Eduardo Alfonso played 11 years in the MLB and was a star for the New York Mets. He was an All-Star in 2000 and won a Silver Slug Award in 1999. Giovanni talked about his upbringings and the importance of being a Mets fan.
Growing up, when I was in elementary school in Port St. Lucie, that's where the Mets spring training was, it was huge to be a Mets fan there.
Manager Pedro Lopez talks about the maturity of Giovanni and what he brings to the organization.
This veteran leadership, I think, he's probably the older side of the group, and he's got some experience from other organizations.
Ironically, he is signed here in Columbia, South Carolina with the Fireflies, which is the Mets affiliate minor league team. He grew up liking guys like Derek Jeter and, of course, his uncle Eduardo. But even though his goal was to get to the Mets, he has wants to accomplish so much more in Columbia, South Carolina.
Always nice to win a championship. I was able to do it in college, so if we can bring a championship back to Columbia, that'd be great.
At whatever level he is in his career, Giovanni's motto is pretty clear.
Only focus on the things that you can control, focus on what you do on the field, focus the type of person you are and the type of player that you are.
For Carolina News, I'm D'Angelo Stevenson. There are a number of families who are losing their homes in the state of South Carolina due to evictions. According to the American Community Survey, Columbia is ranked number 8 in the nation in eviction rates, 7 spots below North Charleston, which is ranked number 1. So why are there so many families being evicted in the state?
Primarily financial reasons, not being able to pay the rent, but that's usually attached to a lot of the cost of living, not earning a living wage.
Jonathan Arts of Homeless No More has worked with many families that have been evicted. He has helped families reside in temporary homes such as the Family Center and St. Lawrence Place. But before checking in, many families used other resources.
So we see evicted families. Often they don't come to us straight from the eviction. They've stretched their resources. They've lived with family, friends, slept on floors, couches, sometimes even in their cars.
During the process of an eviction, a landlord is required by state law to give a 5-day notice to the tenant. After a 5-day notice, if the tenant hasn't paid rent, the landlord files for eviction. A sheriff delivers a legal notice to the tenant, which results in the tenant having to leave the premises within 5 days. For many eviction families, it's hard to be stable once they lose their home. At Homeless No More, the goal is to make the family as comfortable as they can be.
We really want to stabilize it for the children and the adults, so it might mean using our address at the shelter and using our connections with our social workers and case management.
Eviction rates across the country vary from state to state, but South Carolina acts as an outlier, having the highest eviction rates in the country, with the law being enforced harder on tenants to pay their rent on time. With eviction rates going up in the past few years in Columbia, South Carolina, it is making it hard for families to make a living. The eviction filing rate is at 20.4%. The eviction judgment rate is at 8.2%, ranking number 8 in the country. With one of the biggest reasons being poverty, there's also another reason why rates are so much higher in the state.
There are a lot of student housing. There's a lot of student housing that's being built, and it's raising rents exponentially because the students can afford to pay more.
Evictions happen in the world, and it's a challenge. Help and support isn't always there, but for those who are willing to help, the support is right there by their side. For Carolina News, I'm D'Angelo Stevenson.